Yo, what's up guys? Teacher Paul here, and today we have a video request by Whiplash. And Whiplash says Ajax, or is it Ajax? Let me know guys the pronunciation. The biggest talent factory in the world of football. The Amsterdam team is something different when it comes to creating talent. This is a less known video, but with a great outside perspective, or it's outside in perspective. And guys, this is from the channel Buck FC. So let's take a look. The title says How Ajax's Academy Conquered European Football. Let's take a look, and if you are a fan of Ajax, let me know. Let's go.
Right now, in Amsterdam, a teenager is training in a system so valuable that Europe's richest clubs have spent billions trying to copy it. Yet, despite all their money and resources, none of them have succeeded in the same way. In this same training facility, de toekomst, meaning the future, Ajax is developing players worth more than entire...
Toekomst? That means future? Toekomst? That is so different from English. Future. Toekomst.
Training facility, de toekomst, meaning the future. Ajax is developing players worth more than entire clubs.
Wow.
While European giants spend hundreds of millions in the transfer market, this Dutch club creates superstars for a fraction of the cost. And they do it so effectively that Barcelona copied their entire academy system and made it their own. Within this 14-hectare complex, with its 8 full-size pitches and 3 half-size ones, around 200 young players are being molded into the next generation of football stars. In the next few minutes, I'll reveal how one club's academy has shaped modern football, revolutionized player development, and created a system so unique that even unlimited money cannot replicate it. Because
I honestly hope he makes a list of people who came out of there, because I want to know who you guys have fostered.
This isn't just about youth football. It's about how a club from the Netherlands outsmarted the richest teams in the world. Let's start with something that sounds absurd. At Ajax, winning youth games isn't just discouraged. It's sometimes considered a failure. While mega clubs force their U12s to grind out results, Ajax's youth coaches can actually get in trouble if they prioritize winning over development. This philosophy isn't unique to Ajax. It's deeply rooted in Dutch football culture, where the emphasis has always been on developing technically skilled.
Okay, so it's not a bad thing to win, but it's a bad thing to do the same thing over and over again and not see development. Okay, you guys won, but you didn't do this, and that. That's what I understood, right? The problem is not winning, obviously, just so that this doesn't get off context.
Tactically intelligent players rather than collecting youth trophies. What sets Ajax apart is how they've systematized this cultural approach. Their famous TIPS system, technique, insight, personality, and speed, isn't just a catchy acronym. It's meticulously implemented at every single level. Under-8s spend 70% of their training time with the ball at their feet, focusing on mastering basic techniques through games rather than drills.
Wait, doesn't total football also come from the Netherlands? I remember seeing an explanation of total football in a sitcom actually called Ted. What's the name of that show? I forgot the name of the show now. You guys know the show I'm talking about, right? It's on Apple TV. Forgot the name completely now. Which is very interesting. That show is very interesting because it feels like it's a real life Wrexham. Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso. Thank you, Whiplash. Ted Lasso. And when I watched Wrexham, the documentary, it felt like, you know, Ted Lasso was imitating fiction. I mean, the opposite. Wrexham was imitating fiction. You know what I'm saying?
Intelligence is developed through...
And he was there for a match too, wasn't he? Oh yeah, what a crossover. Anyways, let's keep going. The tip system.
of their training time with the ball at their feet, focusing on mastering basic techniques through games rather than drills. Intelligence is developed through constant decision-making scenarios. Even simple passing exercises require players to make choices based on shifting variables. A typical training session at Ajax looks nothing like what you'd see at most academies. Take their U12s. A 75-minute session might start with a 15-minute skill circus where players rotate through technical stations, each incorporating decision-making elements. They'll move on to position-specific training, but here's the twist. Every player trains in every position. A striker might spend one session learning the art of defending, while a defender practices creative attacking play. This comprehensive approach creates versatile players who understand every single aspect of the game. When you compare Ajax's approach to other successful academies, the differences become clear. Barcelona's La Masia, while similarly focused on technical excellence, places more emphasis on positional specialization from an early age.
That's
Sporting
messy
CP's
right there.
academy in Portugal, famous for producing Cristiano Ronaldo, puts greater emphasis on physical development. Ajax's unique combination of technical focus, positional flexibility, and decision-making priority sets them apart. The success of this system spans generations. In the 1990s, they produced Patrick Kluivert.
Okay. Kluivert. Wow. Kluivert. Dang. Okay. Let me just say one thing though. I like the whole idea of, focusing on physical, focusing on technical and stuff like that. But I do think that Brazilian football has not been as successful as before because, and this might seem controversial and you guys might hate me, and you guys might correct me also, but I feel like all of the Brazilian players are leaving Brazil early, going to European football, learning different techniques, and we don't see players like Ronaldo, Ronaldinho, we don't see players like that anymore. And I think it's because of all of this technique and all of this studying and all of this, whereas in Brazil, it comes naturally and they focus more on developing the talent rather than the technical side of things. And this might be a flawed theory because I didn't, do any tests but from experience, you can see the 1994 team, you can see the 1998 team, the 2002 team. Like, we had legendary players and now we have technical players, which I don't think is the best, but I could be wrong. And you guys can obviously tell me. But that's the only thing I can think of, that, because let's say Robinho, even though he has done terrible things in his life, Robinho left Santos with a very, very good skill set. He was light, he was fast. As soon as he got into Real Madrid, they put some muscle on him, they put some weight on him, and he went straight to the benches, and boom, all of his talent was just gone. And maybe you can say, yeah, but his skills weren't on par with European defenders. But I truly believe maybe if he went to Barcelona, he would have been the next Ronaldinho. There's something about Barcelona that they do. They at least from what I saw, they let the players be themselves. And Real Madrid is very controlled, even though, I don't know. I need to look into it a little bit more because I'm not trying to theorize here. I'm just expressing that I feel like Brazil doesn't have enough legendary players as they should. The last one was Neymar, honestly. In comparison, nobody has that skill set that, I know it's not a hot take because you guys are very into European football, but at the same time, it feels like watching Brazilian football is more exciting. And I know people are going to hate that. But as someone who watches Brazilian leagues, there are so many talented people, and it's much more enjoyable than seeing our national team play. And I'm only speaking for Brazil here. We have so many good players, but it feels like all of our players are coming from European teams, and I think we would have a better national team if we had people. Release the haters. Yeah, I know, guys. I honestly know you guys are gonna hate what I'm saying, but I'm just saying that I miss the old national team of Brazil. And you guys can honestly rip me apart, and there's a good reason for that, because our national team isn't doing great nowadays. So there might be some truth in what I'm saying. Just think about that. Just think about that. Keep an open mind.
In the 1990s, they produced Patrick Kluivert, who would go on to win the Champions League. Clarence Seedorf emerged from their academy to become the only player to win the Champions League with 3 different clubs. Edgar Davids revolutionized the defensive midfield position, while Edwin van der Sar transformed into one of history's greatest.
Oh, okay. So I just realized, I think you guys might have, you guys might think I'm saying that this is not good. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you guys have great. This is what we're seeing here is great. I just realized what you guys are doing here is great. What I'm saying is that in Brazil, people are born with a natural talent to play in the streets. When they are exposed to this type of thing, I think it doesn't improve Brazilians. That's what I'm saying. I feel like our techniques for Brazilians fits better for the Brazilians because of the way we are grown, the way we grow up, and the way we are taught. And I know that showboating and doing all these crazy stuff is not it's frowned upon in European football, but we have our culture. We like dancing, celebrations with dancing, which was seen as disrespectful in the last World Cup. We like doing showboating, and which people think is humiliating the other things. And that's what I'm saying. We also like light and fast players. Some teams in Europe like a more structured, physical, strong player. And a lot of people complain that Neymar keeps falling because he doesn't have muscle on him. And that's what I'm saying. It's a different mentality. So when you get someone who wants to showboat, wants to dribble, wants to do crazy stuff, and you put them in a controlled system, it just doesn't work for them. It just doesn't make them excel. That's what I'm saying. And that's why I think Brazil hasn't been what they used to be in the past. And it's been 20 years, and I can't say Brazil has a perfect team like I used to say it before. And the only reason that I can think of is because they're going into a training regiment that isn't exactly what they grew up with. It's changing their way of football, and it's changing our teams. But with that said, it works very well for European mentality, with European culture, with European organized football, which you guys may say it's the best. That's what I'm trying to say. And I know why people would really hate.
The success of this system spans generations. In the 1990s, they produced Patrick Kluivert, who would go on to win the Champions League. Clarence Seedorf emerged from their academy to become the only player to win the Champions League with 3 different clubs. Edgar Davids revolutionized the defensive midfield position, while Edwin van der Sar transformed into one of history's greatest keepers. The 2000s brought us Wesley Sneijder, who would lead Inter Milan to the Champions League title and the Netherlands to a World Cup final. Rafael van der Vaart dazzled
Wow,
across
I
Europe,
remember this
while Christian
goal.
Eriksen became a Premier League star. Toby Alderweireld earned over 100 international caps. The production line never stopped. And today, we're watching De Jong and De Ligt command transfer fees totaling over 160 million euros. Ryan Gravenberch is shaping Liverpool's midfield future. Kenneth Taylor looks set to be the next big transfer, while Brian Broby leads Ajax's attack. The system keeps evolving, keeps producing. The numbers behind this success are staggering. According to CIES Football Observatory's February 2023 report, Ajax ranks 4th globally in terms of total estimated transfer value of youth academy graduates, with one.
But also, like, if you look at Santos also has an amazing, or at least he used to. That's where Pele came from. That's where Robinho came from. That's where Kaká came from, which is also nice. So it's very nice to see this. I think, you know, this is really, really a nice thing to see coming from the Netherlands. That is, and I didn't know Ajax had that much influence in the world. That's so cool. And I know that club football is much more powerful outside of Brazil. I don't think a lot of people watch Brazilian club football, but it's exciting. It's very exciting to watch. As I said, I'm not saying one is better than the other. Actually, I am. I'm saying Brazilian football is better, but I'm not saying European football is bad. Both are good. I just prefer a fast-paced, crazy, like, you know, shouting go, like, exciting, rather than the slow-paced passing, organized, you know. Yeah, but that's my biased Brazilian opinion. You guys understand. And you guys are going to say yours is better, so we're not going to find a common ground here. But with that said, this is so cool to see Ajax producing so many great players.
Of youth academy graduates, with 114 graduates valued at 555 million euros. What's particularly impressive is that Ajax still retains 149 million euros of that value in their current squad, about 27%. Only 3 clubs rank higher. Benfica is in first. They've made 670 million euros from 104 graduates. Chelsea come in second, and they've made 630 million euros from 78 players in their academy. And Barcelona is in third, with 581 million euros made from 102 players.
Nice.
The return on investment is remarkable, often exceeding 1,000% per successful graduate. But this success has created new challenges. Big clubs now scout Ajax's U15s. Players leave earlier than ever. Competing academies copy their methods. Transfer fees create pressure for quick sales. Yet, Ajax has responded with innovation while staying true to their core principles. They continue to evolve their training methods, combining their traditional focus on technical skills and tactical understanding with modern performance analysis and data-driven development approaches. They track player development meticulously, ensuring each young talent progresses according to their individual development plan. The focus remains on developing complete footballers who understand the game deeply. From the earliest ages, players are encouraged to think about the game, not just play it. Training sessions are designed to challenge players mentally as well as physically, creating footballers who can make smart decisions under pressure and adapt to different tactical situations. This isn't just about Ajax anymore. They've proven that technical development trumps physical development, that patience beats immediate results, that system matters more than spending, and that youth development can be profitable. And truthfully, I think a lot of clubs nowadays are trying to emulate Ajax in this way, similar to clubs like Brentford and Brighton, who are trying to continue to stay in the top flight of English football, but can't do it with massive amounts of money in the bank, similar to the other top 6 clubs. Ajax have shown that there's another way to compete with football's financial elite. The next time you see a teenager sold for millions, before playing a professional match, remember, somewhere in Amsterdam, Ajax is developing 10 more players who will be even better.
It's crazy.
They just don't feel the need to rush it.
That
What
is
do you guys
so
think?
cool.
Is Ajax development model still sustainable in modern football? Can their emphasis on patient development survive in an era of ever earlier transfers? Let me know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into football's most fascinating stories. Thank you.
That's awesome. That is really, really nice. I love seeing these type of videos because it shows.
Right now, in Amber.
Thank you so much for following. Thank you so much, Sweet Sour. What I'm saying here, and if I can't be honest, I can't be anything. What I'm saying, I love to see what the teams are doing around the world because it shows so much dedication, so much work, and so much technique going into it. And I loved what Total Football did, and it's part of the golden age of Dutch football. What I was saying back then was about Brazilian football. We have had a lot of success in World Cups. So there must be something that we were doing right. And now we're not having a lot of success. It could either be because European football got better, or it can be, and this is my theory, that we are adapting to European football. If you look at the highlight reels from 20 years back and compare them to today's highlight reels, which we normally do and often do, it's ridiculous what our team is doing today. Our Brazilian players today have no place in in legendary status. Nobody can measure up to R9, to Ronaldinho, to Rivaldo, Denilson, Cafu. Nobody. You can say Vini Jr., but honestly, look at the highlight reels. Roberto Carlos. Come on, guys. You see what I'm trying to say here? We have passed our golden age. And the only thing that is different now is that we are exporting all of our players before they reach their full potential. And Pele didn't leave Santos like until he was much, much older and more developed. And it's just something that I think that world football is becoming too equal. And Brazilians are getting into more technical, slow-paced football, and they're not doing the joga bonito anymore. And I think it's because of this whole development of schools, where in the past we used to do things naturally and just be kids playing in the streets. Now we're an investment. We're not players anymore. We're an investment, and we are learning techniques rather than developing it naturally. That's my opinion, and that's why I prefer my national football, because I think the joga bonito is still there, even though it goes unnoticed. And all of the players that are being called are people who are playing abroad. But I might be wrong. I could be wrong, and I'm open to that idea that I am wrong. And I hope I am wrong, because I want to see more players like Lucio, like who else? Like, dude, we have so many players, man. Like, we don't see the Steph Currys anymore. You know what I'm saying? Steph Curry, as in a basketball reference. Like, for example, Juninho Pernambucano. That dude, we called him Pé de Anjo, or is that Carioca? Can't remember who is Pé de Anjo. I think it's Marcelinho Carioca. Marcelinho Carioca, Juninho Pernambucano. Those guys, if you put a ball on their foot, stopped from anywhere, they can score. Crazy free kicks. Now people it feels like they're thinking twice. Oh, I need to place the ball here. I need to do this. And back then they didn't think, they just played. So that's the downside of technical football. It's good for development. But when you impose a lot of rules for people who grow up in the streets playing for their life, literally, it's more of studying. Like, Brazilians don't really like studying, they like doing when it comes to football. And a lot of people growing up in the slums, that's their way out. That's their way into out of poverty and into a decent job, because it's the dream job. And I think that's the same reason why India has a lot of great cricket players also, because they grow up thinking this is my way out of poverty. And that's where the great players come from. Now, when you put them in a school, they kind of lose that essence, I think. But yeah, that's my hot take, which is not very popular. It's my unpopular opinion, which you guys can hate, but I would love to know your thoughts. But be calm, be patient, and that's just my opinion. But I think it works very well with the mentality and with the system in European football. And I can see how well you guys have improved. But at the same time, the Netherlands in international football hasn't had so much success that they should have. England hasn't had so much success as they should have. So what's your opinion? Not saying we're better, just saying we have the record and there's a reason. I don't know. You guys are going to grill me, I know. But as I said, if I'm not honest, I'm not anything. In any case, guys, if you want to request a video like Whiplash did, go over to Buy Me a Coffee. Show me your best. Show me your worst, but show me something. Click over here or click over here to see my next football video. Take care now. Bye-bye.